Figure out who we're killing yet? Oh, fuck.
Hey, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. How did this happen? I ain't doing too great because I truly did not love Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and I really thought I'd be saying the opposite. I was one of those lucky chuckle fucks who got to play the alpha, and I was shocked, flabbergasted, because I had a damn good time with it. The gameplay was fluid, the section of Metropolis they let us explore was everything I imagined Rocksteady's Superman world would and should feel like. I spent years imagining, dreaming of what the architecture, the walls, the world outside of their Gotham felt like in the Rocksteady universe. And this was it, man. I could not wait to explore every single nook, cranny, and tiny crack. The Arkhamverse homages, the Batman Museum, the Riddler being back, all pleasant surprises. Mix that with a story that seemed far more Guardians of the Galaxy than Gotham Knights or Avengers, a story with characters that I wanted to know more, spend more time unraveling and unwrapping what's underneath their crude, crass asses. And I was sold. Because even if it was a looter shooter games as a service, it was a Rocksteady looter shooter games as a service. It's like if Chris Nolan decided to make your least favorite genre of film. Kill the Justice League still had a creative team behind it that I fully believed in and trusted to give us something unexpected. When everyone continued to shit on the game, I was a defender. I was so excited to jump back in, to explore, to discover where the story went and how the gameplay evolved as the characters continued to grow. I paid the $100 for the deluxe edition, not because I give a shit about the bonuses, the costumes, the battle passes, the Lex coins, but because I wanted to experience all they had to offer as soon as I possibly could. And as it turns out, all that excitement, all the fun I had with the alpha was all the fun I was ever gonna have, because those 3 or so hours they let everyone play early, that supposedly small section of the game, that teaser, yeah, those are by far, by flash freaking fucking far, the best 3 hours the game has to offer. Metropolis does open up, adding another tiny district or two that you won't spend that much time in. You do spend more time with the characters, about another 4 or 5 hours, but they never grow. We never really learn more, feel more for them. And the gameplay, if anything, becomes more and more repetitive. I've played 20 hours and I can't imagine playing any more. But all that pales in comparison to my disbelief at just how misguided, cynical, and downright mean this game is. The Suicide Squad did not kill the Justice League. They killed my trust in a studio and franchise that has meant the world to me. And that's a freaking tragedy. I want to get this out of the way. It's lazy, bad-spirited, brain-dead criticism to act like Rocksteady knew Kevin Conroy was going to pass. It's ridiculous to act like they forced him into the booth, tied him down, and made him voice the character with a gun pressed up to his temple. He loved working with the studio, man. He was probably friends with a lot of the team, having spent so many years playing Batman with them. The problems with Kill the Justice League have nothing to do with Kevin Conroy, the man, the human being behind the bat, passing away, and this being one of his final performances. Stop acting like they disrespected Kevin, who had nothing but respect for Rocksteady and the artists behind Kill the Justice League. Cool? Cool. Anyways, I said this with the Gotham Knights video, and I believe the same sentiment applies here. So much of the disappointment in this game will be chalked up to the fact that Kill the Justice League is not an Arkham game. Now, I don't think this is fair criticism, nor do I think you can really blame anyone for being disappointed that we aren't playing another Arkham game. We all wanted a sequel to Arkham Knight. Hell, dude, I'm still damn waiting for the sequel to Arkham Origins. I'm pretty sure you, me, and my dead Uncle Craig would much rather have played the Damian Wayne Batman game set in the post-apocalyptic Arkhamverse than play Gotham Knights. A game that takes the Arkham formula and somehow dilutes it. Worse combat, worse stealth, paper-thin characterizations that act like mouthpieces for DC wiki entries, and a Gotham that, while bigger and beautiful looking on the surface, had very little to explore. And I'm pretty sure that none of us expected that Rocksteady's next DC game would be set in Metropolis, continue the story of Arkham Knight, and feature their takes on the Justice League. I mean, the best we could have hoped for was a Superman game, right? That's what everyone wanted. The fact they are doing the entire league was a dream come true. And absolutely fucking nobody expected for all that to be a backdrop to a Suicide Squad game. I would have guessed literally any other DC property, Superman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, Booster Gold, fucking Condiment King, then put my money on the idea that Rocksteady was going to make a Suicide Squad game. Which brings me to a big question. What the fuck is a Suicide Squad game? To me, the thing that defined the Arkham series, that made them everlasting classics on arrival, was Rocksteady and WB Montreal's pure passionate dedication to creating a pure Batman experience. Every single design choice was in service of creating the definitive Batman game. They invented an entire new combat system because nothing at the time felt like Batman. Every piece of texture, tiling, every casting choice and every line of dialogue, every cape flow or musical swell, everything was so perfectly Batman in a way that was astounding, iconic. The goal wasn't to reinvent the wheel, but was to perfectly adapt and invent a version of the character that wasn't different, but definitive. If you had never picked up a comic in your life, never watched the animated series, if you had only been a casual fan, a fan of the movies, hell, if you didn't give a shit about Batman, you played Arkham Asylum and knew that this was the Batman. They didn't just take what worked about Batman Vengeance, what was cool about Batman Begins, and mash it together. Rocksteady invented a genre. This was the Batman game. Shit, man, can you imagine? That must have been impossible. So the natural thought process when making a Suicide Squad game would be to do the same thing, right? To invent and craft a gameplay system, a story, and a world that could only be experienced by the squad. When you play as Deadshot, the systems, the surroundings, and everything should be in support of creating that definitive Deadshot experience. Same goes for Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, and King Shark. No wonder it took them a decade to create, right? No, nah. Wrong. This is not the case here. Instead of trying to invent a new genre, iterate and evolve what a Suicide Squad game could, should, and would feel like, they decided to try and make a live service looter shooter. I can't tell you what a Suicide Squad game feels like because Rocksteady does not show us. I can't answer that question because even if the gameplay is fun, even if the shooting does feel good, it also feels like nothing new. It's something you've played before, seen before, and felt before with an Arkhamverse skin on it. Underneath the little threads of story that continue the series we so adored, the speckles of the continuation that we fans will claw at like rabid Catholic rabbits, there isn't all that much here. And that's sad because there is so much potential. And every time you catch a glimpse of that potential, that tiny sliver of light in the darkness, the game shoots itself. Much like the name of the squad, the game decides to aim its very large guns right at itself, right smack dab in the chest, firing an oversized bullet through the heart. At every turn, every possible moment that could be special, that could be meaningful, it decides to end its own momentum. Every time I'm very much enjoying the characters, the chaotic banter, every single moment that I might be invested in the story. Mid-cutscene, mid-line of dialogue sometimes, I am hit with a mission complete screen. I am slapped across the face with whatever fucking loot I just picked up. The world itself, like I said earlier, is the perfect metropolis, the retro-futurist heightened 60s Bruce Timm look from the animated series. It fits perfectly with Rocksteady's modernized yet timeless dark deco Gotham. The art design is brilliant as always. Such a beautifully detailed world that was once so full of life. Drive-ins, diners, large film posters, and Americana advertisements everywhere. Hero worship on full display. Batman was a myth, something hidden in the shadows that Gotham never wanted to acknowledge. Metropolis worships the League like modern-day deities, honoring them, marketing them, and selling their image left and right. But yet, we only see the remains of the once bustling golden city. In premise, that's fascinating, haunting, shattered merchandise, graffiti begging for saviors next to the ashes of the very people the gods promised to protect, stuck, frozen in terror. I can only dream of the Superman game, the Justice League game, where we saved them. Instead, I can only fly above the streets, semi-apathetically looking down my way to the next loot mission so I can upgrade my gun to Luther Tech level fucking 5. You see what I mean? What little interior missions we do get, we are treated to the same level of detail and love of the DC mythos we all expected. Something as small as a tiny grate being removed from the vent hits us with a terrifying nostalgic fear that we are being hunted by the Bat. The Daily Planet being filled to the brim with research, reprints, and remains of the staff is heartwarming and horrifying at the same time. The idea that the god who is now murdering everyone so joyously once kept a photo of his ma and pa on his desk says 1,000 words. Says more than Superman actually fucking says in the game. Re-emerging back into the open world and out of the left corner of your eye, catching a shadowed figure on a rooftop, only to zoom in and realize that Batman is looking right back at you, stalking you like prey, is so ridiculously cool. But all that good stuff, those brief moments, the potential is boomeranged in the gut, hammered in the head, shot dead in the soul by its own mechanics. Arkham Knight had mission variety. Yeah, you were always fighting, stealthing, and shooting, but you weren't just shooting. Firefly was a chase, Pig was a detective case, but every single journey along the squad's story is the same stale slice of shooting. Trying to find the Batcave in Metropolis, protect Ivy's plant by shooting the same 3 enemies with different fucking afflictions. If I hear the word affliction one more time, I'm gonna shoot myself.
I love affliction.
Excited to travel to Earth 2? Get ready to protect Lex Luthor's minivan. It's the worst thing about Arkham Knight blown up times 1,000. It's the military militia obsession, the tank battle gameplay loops that interrupted the story. It's all that on fucking steroids, man. Every single time I'm experiencing a well-directed cinematic cutscene that feels so very cool. Every time I'm laughing at the absurd comedic bits between the squad. Every single damn time, I am immediately reminded that this is the embodiment of the opposite of what put Rocksteady on the map. Gameplay does not support the story here. It gets in the way of it, literally. I remember, I'm trying to actually feel something, right? I'm trying to connect with the story by watching Lois Lane have to report on the death of her lover. I'm trying to actually feel the impact, the emotional weight, how heavy it must be for her to have to remain strong in the face of such when I'm blasted by generic Brainiac Goon 3 right in my damn face, throwing myself into another bit of action that I mean, fuck me for trying to feel something, I guess, right? Fuck me for trying to find meaning in this mean story. This is a game starring the Justice League that we only meet after they've turned bad, ugly, corrupted. The outrage isn't directed at the concept of a Suicide Squad game, but rather the concept of so casually, cruelly killing the game that we all wanted. And listen, man, I'm all for going against the grain, for Rocksteady doing something different and not just rehashing what we loved before, but they chose the most abrasive middle finger to their fans route they could have. And that could have worked, man, it could have, but you need to have a good, hell, I'd even take a complete story to back that up. This is a sequel to Arkham Knight, where Bruce has risen back from the shadows, back from becoming a nightmarish demon, back from isolating any human part of himself. He's brought back to the light by Superman. He's given a reason to no longer hide in pain because of the possibility of hope that Clark and the League bring. What a wonderful story that we'll never get to see, only hear the tiniest breadcrumbs of in the audio logs. Instead, this is a game where the story only depicts Batman as a brainwashed, murderous monster that we have to stop. Bruce's struggle, his literal internal terror in Arkham Knight was becoming the thing that took his parents away from him. We, as the player, had to fight the voices in our head, the demonic smiling clown whispering in our ear, telling us how easy it would be to take a life, to become that monster.
Come on, finish it.
We beat that fear, overcame all fear, and in the final moments of Arkham Knight, we were shown a perfect ending. Bruce Wayne might be dead, but Batman will always exist in whatever form to stop a young boy from experiencing the unimaginable trauma that sent Bruce hiding in the shadows. And now, this game is telling us that Bruce's struggle, our struggle as the player, was seemingly for nothing. And the worst part is that none of the League's characterizations, how little we get of them in those damn audio logs or when we catch a picture of them hanging out before shit went south, are bad. In fact, they are seemingly pretty perfect. But it's almost like the team behind the game has absolutely no interest in giving us the found family full of lost souls and last sons, and making us care about the League before we chop off their fingers and fire a round right into their skulls. Why? This was developed for 7 years, and maybe seeing evil, murderous versions of our heroes was a fresh idea 7 years ago. Maybe that kind of cynical edge was fun 5 years ago, but now I would literally rather have evil Green Lantern make a giant freaking race car and have it drive straight up my ass. I'm not messing around when I say that Lego Batman 3 features a Brainiac corrupted Batman and somehow gives our heroes better development and care. Lego Batman 3, which is a banger. And yeah, I don't think any of the League are actually dead, clones, copies, whatever it may be. We will resurrect them and they will come back. That doesn't change the fact that the deaths here, they just don't seem to matter. I didn't even know I had actually killed Flash until the squad said it and Boomer pulled out his boomstick. I didn't feel the weight of any of their deaths. At first, I thought they were playing it fast and easy for a third act twist of sorts, like the squad actually didn't kill shot any of them. That twist never came. I mean, dude, in what world do we live in where the story spends more time establishing the DLC plans than focusing on Superman's death? More time spent collecting meaningless loot than killing the goddamn Batman. There's no gravitas, there's no depth. Toyman worships these heroes like we all do, and unless I miss some radio chatter, I can't recall him having anything real to say about the fact you just sent a bullet flying through their heads. You should feel how hard it would be for the squad to actually pull it off, but it's absolutely so nonchalant. Even all the emotional beats they set up, Boomer constantly being undermined and made to feel even more insecure by Barry, John Stewart separating Floyd from his daughter, Harley having a pseudo respect for Bruce, and the entire squad being in awe of Superman. All that is gestured towards, poked at, but never actually made to mean shit when it comes time to pull the trigger. Wonder Woman gets the closest thing to a meaningful send-off, but even that is brushed over so Gizmo can send you on a mission to blow shit up quicker. Flag can encourage you to collect the same 3 NPC civilians. Death doesn't matter, as long as there are afflictions to add to your black mass sniper rifle. Ugh, Jesus Christ. The squad themselves, yeah, they're well characterized. I enjoyed my time with them, even for how few and far between the moments of genuine character development were sprinkled in between the loot and shoot sandwich. I love seeing Boomer's insecurity, Harley's newfound confidence, and her anger at who she used to be, her desire to change and to not be controlled. Floyd's obsessiveness being a coping mechanism for how much he fucked up as a father. I love the idea of the imposter Deadshot. Instead of just not explaining, instead of just recasting, turns out the guy you fought in the Arkham games was an imposter. I was so pumped to see if he showed up in the story. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. Instead, it's sort of explained and teased in optional audio logs that, if you're like me, did not realize were even there until 20 hours into the game. As an off note, with Gotham Knights in this, I am so freaking sick of essential character moments and beats being only told to us in collectible audio logs. That's not storytelling, that's a cop-out. Why the hell is this?
Zoe, listen, I never should have made you a part of this. I know that. When you were born, Deadshot was done. Zoe, come on, wait. Please don't hang up.
Not in the actual game, not a part of the character's journey. I guess the characters don't really matter as long as you have something to aim your upgraded gun at. Having an actual ending, that doesn't matter either. I could not believe that the final mission had to be unlocked through Ethereum resources. When I saw a timer glued to the left side of my screen rushing me through the final moments of the game, I could not believe my shit brown eyes when I realized the final confrontation with the man who turned the Justice League into monsters was just a rehash of the Flash boss fight. I beat Brainiac, the collector of worlds, the man who led our heroes to their death with a fucking Gizmo tank. A Gizmo tank. And I was just utterly depressed by the time I realized that this was all for nothing. Because there is no climax. There is no ending. After the credits, you start hearing a different universe Brainiac chatting with you over the comms because there is more to buy. More money to give. It's twisted, man. Unacceptable. This is not a complete story. I'm sure Rocksteady could have given us a great character study of all these broken and abused souls that are the Suicide Squad. Maybe they did, man, originally. I don't know. I refuse to believe the game turned out this empty on purpose. Whatever may have happened, the reality is that every story thread I was so invested in, Bruce choosing to be a symbol of hope instead of fear, a Harley without her abusive manipulator, Floyd and his daughter, none of that is explored with weight nor resolved. I'm sure it will be resolved, explored more in Season 6 Battle Pass Token 4, but it ain't in the game that we paid $70 for. As the credits rolled on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the rock music blast and the beautiful character designs consuming my screen, the immense disappointment began to sink in. The beautiful Kevin Conroy tribute that paid respect to someone who I wasn't just a fan of, but whose Batman felt like family to me, was followed up by an advertisement for the next 4 seasons of the game and a final mission accomplished screen with a big glaring question mark at the end of it. We will bring the Justice League back, but what did we lose in the process? And all I could think about was just how much the Arkham games had meant to me throughout the years. I must have been 10, 14 years ago, more than half my life, and I still have these vivid memories, exaggerated sentimental moments that I dream in such detail. There was this newsstand corner store where my dad frequently bought cigs and I frequently browsed the magazine section in the back. In between the Vogues, the varieties, there was always a few comic book stragglers, Sonic, Archie, Spidey. And I remember one day after school, or maybe it was a weekend, I don't know, I was drinking a Sundrop, waiting for my dad to finish playing the lottery, the numbers, betted on a dream, when out of the corner of my eye, I spot this image. Now, it's not like it is today where you have to try to avoid knowing everything about an upcoming movie, show, game. I didn't even have a computer at home, man. My family used to go to the library to access the internet, so I had no idea what this was. I opened up the Game Informer, issue 185, and started reading about what seemed like my childhood fantasy come true. A Batman game written by Paul Dini, set entirely in Arkham Asylum, starring Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. Now, I was young, but those 3 dudes were my Mount Washington. I could not believe my eyes. I had dreamed about a serious Batman game. I had dreamed about those guys coming back to voice their characters for the first time in years. I ran to my dad, who was the one who got me into everything Batman, and he bought the magazine for me with the last few bucks of pocket change he had on him. We rushed home. I cut out the few stills the article had and the cover and then taped it to my wall. Every time it would get humid, they'd sweat off. I'd wipe down the wall and tape them right back up. I remember playing the demo for Asylum at my local GameStop. I think it was just the first challenge map. Do you know what I'm talking about? I begged for that used Xbox 360 that later got the red ring of death, only to be saved by the penny trick because of Rocksteady. Asylum got delayed and my 11-year-old self was heartbroken, but when the game came out, I made my dad watch every single frame of that game for what must have been 40 hours. I remember Spike TV and the Video Game Awards. I remember Joker accepting the award, and I remember going through every single frame of the Arkham City teaser trying to spot any hidden clues. I remember believing that this was real. I remember collecting all the NOS energy drinks just to get all the skins for Arkham City. I remember how I spent my school nights staying up way too late on the WB forum pages, desperately believing that this bird was in fact Man-Bat. I mean, dude, some of my first YouTube videos on my childhood channel were about how Joker was still alive, how you could find a Riddler character model hidden under the church, how you could mod your entire Xbox 360 to be in theme with the Arkham City Game Informer covers. And of course, as I got older, I spent far less time indulging in the Arkhamverse. You get busy, distracted by school, by growing up, by passions, crushes, heartbreak, and everything in between. But you bet your ass, when Arkham Knight came out, I skipped the day of high school just to stay up all night playing it. I fell back into those old community pages, the forums, just to see if there was a secret room we missed. And I'm pretty sure one of the first times I ever tried an edible, I sat there with my boys replaying the same Tim Burton racetrack again and again. I never grew out of the Arkham franchise. I grew with it, and it grew with me. So many moments, connections, memories, and pure love because of that game studio and the franchise they spawned. I'm forever grateful for that, and I'll never forget it. And I'm sure a lot of you are like me. The disappointment doesn't come from the fact that I will never be able to go back to capture those memories, those moments again, and that's what makes them so special. The disappointment is so universal because of just how much love and admiration admiration we all had for those memories, for what Rocksteady did to and for not just the genre, not just the character, but for all of us 8-year-olds out there who grew up believing in their promise. The promise that we could escape our lives, if only for a little, and become that we would be the Batman. That promise meant something to so many people for so long, and now that promise has been replaced by a half-hearted joke, a joke about just how fun it would be to kill the Justice League. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I lost my voice fucking recording this one. Thank you so much to That One Doesn't Count for editing this video. What did you guys think of the game? I know a lot of people actually really enjoy it, and I wish I was one of those people. So yeah, comment below and let me know. Okay, anyways guys, thank you so much. Tons of Jason updates coming soon. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely